Did I tell you that I was going to finish my basement with all, like, the damn toys in our house? We could really use the extra...
Are you going to follow the building codes?
I don't think I was going to tell the city. I mean, getting permits takes forever.
Do you want Molasses to destroy your home?
Are you feeling all right? Why? What is...
Do you want your entire family to drown in molasses?
Why are you yelling at me? There's not even a water tower in my neighborhood, let alone...
January 19th, Boston, Massachusetts. 2.3 million gallons of molasses erupts, killing 21 people and injuring many more. The tank construction was completed without any reference to building codes or proper inspections.
I ran out of air.
The tank construction was completed without any reference to building codes or proper inspections. This is what you get for cutting corners, Jacob. Talk about a sticky situation. I'm sweaty.
Welcome back to the Historical Blunders podcast, where we cover the biggest topics in history in a format that feels like catching up with a buddy at the bar. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jake, and we're two avid history buffs and lifelong friends. Today's topic... Shut the fuck up. Today's topic is the Boston Molasses Flood, and we're super excited to talk about it. We're going to cover the tank itself, why it existed, how it got built, and what's important about it. We'll go through the flood, what happened on that day. We'll have a trivia segment, and then we'll talk about why the tank failed exactly, and talk about its legacy. And that's the schedule for today.
So we've stuck pretty well to our 2-week schedule. But sorry, folks, for our next episode. We're going to be probably a week late.
Or a couple weeks
late. We are going to Florida.
And then I'm going to Florida the week after.
Yeah, so it kind of travel with kids and everything. It's going to be a shit show. So we're going to take a
mini break.
But we will be back as soon as we possibly can.
Refreshed, sunned up, all tan.
I know, dude. I'm going to get a wicked tan.
Sexy.
But last time I looked, it was supposed to rain.
I'm going to shave my chest.
Are you really?
No.
Oh.
No.
All right. So big news to our fans. We will be doing a name change for the show.
When are we going to do it?
22nd of March, 2024. Historical Blunders podcast will be no more. That kind of rhymed.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good. That's good. We are changing our name to Bottoms Up History because we like to drink on the show.
Hey, bottoms up.
Woo, cheers.
Yay.
So, yeah. We will make sure to change the links and everything. We'll make sure we leave ways for everybody to find our new show.
Yeah, we're going to keep the same logo too, pretty much.
Yeah, same logo, just changing the name.
We just wanted a name that fits the show a little better.
Yeah, and we're trying to broaden our show too.
Yeah, we're trying to make it more attractable to other people.
Well, not even just making us strictly blunders.
Attractable is not a word either. It's attractive.
Attractable is not?
Attractable?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't feel like Googling that.
I don't feel like it either.
We like history. We don't like words.
We'll just live like it's 2000 and be like, I don't know. All right, so we're going to talk about the tank to start, and we're going to go over what was this tank for? Why was it even necessary, right? The United States Industrial Alcohol Company, USIA, was a company that mainly made ethanol. And ethanol was used in ammunitions. And obviously, at this time in the early 1900s, the demand for ethanol was extremely high. So no, it was not people trying to have syrup for their pancakes in Boston why the tank existed. It was because they were trying to make guns to kill Nazis.
That wasn't Nazis yet. That was World War I.
Oh, that's right. Well, they were trying to kill Germans with it.
No matter what, still Germans. But yeah, reading that, it was kind of, I didn't know you needed ethanol to make gunpowder.
Yeah, apparently you need a shitload of, I don't know why. I didn't get that deep into it, but it's just you need 1 liter of ethanol for 1 pound of gunpowder.
Which, yeah, is a lot for like the bigger rounds and stuff. But like a bullet, like you don't use that much gunpowder.
Yeah, but I mean, at the scale that was going on,
Yeah, well,
right,
yeah.
the demand was 50 to 60 million gallons per year just for ammunitions for ethanol. So
Yeah.
it was huge, and it had spiked in that time. So there's a couple ways to make ethanol, but the cheapest was to use molasses. And that's molasses is a byproduct of making sugar, basically. So it's that thick, dark syrup. Everyone knows that. But what you do is you take the sugar cane, you take all the juice out of the sugar cane, then they boil that juice to make the sugar crystals, and that's your sugar. And they take that out of the liquid. What's left is the molasses.
Yeah, so do they to make the ethanol? Do they like distill the molasses to make the ethanol?
No, so what happens is the molasses ferments.
Oh, all right.
And
just
when it
sugar,
ferments, then
yeah.
it becomes it has alcohol as a byproduct of it.
Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, not for pancakes.
Not for but I don't know any people that put molasses on pancakes.
I think they used to, didn't they?
I don't think so, dude.
I haven't really, honestly. I don't think I've actually tried molasses before.
It's not
It's not
maple
good?
syrup.
It's not good.
In cookies, it is. But I think they use it to like dye things darker, like food products and stuff.
Molasses?
Yeah, because it's still sweet. So so if you make something dark and sweet,
I was interested to see that it was actually fairly nutritional.
really?
Yeah, because all the sugar they take out of it, so what's left
I
is
guess.
all the nutrients from the sugar cane. You know, which is mostly sugar.
So what you're saying is molasses cookies as a health food. So when I eat 15 of them, I'm being healthy.
You're still fat.
Oh. Shit. All right, it was worth a shot.
All right, so how did they build the tank? So USAI picked this Arthur Gel guy to basically oversee the construction of the tank. And you would think, well, this guy must be really accomplished and intelligent and well experienced, to do such that. No, he was a secretary. But he was the heading up the project. He was basically just a clerk. So the president was like putting all this crazy amount of pressure on him because this is America, right? Basically, they made this really aggressive schedule to get the tank done, and they started construction in early December. And by the end of December, they had a shipment that they had paid for to come in, and the owner of the company was threatening this gel guy, like, "Hey, if you don't have this freaking tank together, we're just gonna dump the molasses in the ocean. Like, we're literally not gonna be able to put it anywhere. We have no choice but to dump it out. So you need to get it done in time." Because this is America. That's how we do things. So it was supposed to be put together in that time. So he rushed out and got a parcel of land that was purchased by the railroad tracks on the north side of Boston. It was like this quasi-industrial / immigrant village. So it was a lot of like Italian population. It was densely populated area. It wasn't a very rich area either, so like the people were pretty financially at hardship. But it was decided that the tank would be 90 feet in diameter and 50 feet tall, and it was going to store 2.3 million gallons of molasses. So
a lot.
Yeah, so when they used to talk about this in school, I'd be like, "Oh, it's like a water tower, but it's filled with syrup, and it's kind of cool." But actually it wasn't up in the air at all. It was down on the ground. And just to give you some context, right, 90 feet in diameter is a whole basketball court's length or 2 school buses back to back. Like, it's really freaking wide.
Way to be very American with your measurements. Haven't you ever seen that meme?
What?
Where it's like, oh, we found a sinkhole that would fit 30 washing machines, and everyone's like, way to be American and use everything except the metric system to measure things.
Just random shit.
Yeah. 2 school buses.
No, but so on that note, 50 feet tall is a 4-story building. So like we'll put some pictures online on our Facebook page showing how big it actually was, but it is absurdly large, especially when you think about it being filled with a sticky liquid, you know. So, other context, most water towers that you see only have about a 1 million gallon capacity. And this one had 2.3 million gallons for molasses. You know, that would really just make quite the sticky situation. So you would think, like, with this big fancy tank, right, and with how egregiously large it is and how much liquid it would hold, especially heavy liquid, right?
Yeah.
You would have engineers, certified inspectors overseeing the design and the build. But no, not one engineer or proper inspector was a part of the process. So basically it was designed by the gel guy being like, I don't know, just make it like this kind of material and, like, you know,
This big.
we want it real big. Real big. Basically, if you paid like Uncle Billy to build a giant tank for you in your backyard. No building codes, no professional engineers. And like John said, right? John the fireman said in our episode on the Luna Park fire, the ghost train fire, codes are written in blood.
Yeah.
Right? And we'll get to some of that later, but that's the reason why this kind of happened. But the construction of the tank happened, like I said, in early December of 1915. And usually, like, a common practice at least was to fill it up with water and check for leaks, which they did. But they only put 6 inches of water in because they didn't have the time to test it properly. So they put 6 inches of water. Like, it looks pretty sweet. Like, we did a really good job.
I can only imagine the massive size of that tank, and they're like 6 inches of water. They're like, that's good.
It's like
No pressure test.
Dumping a bottle of water and be like, the bottle of water stayed in there. I don't know.
It can hold.
So it didn't leak, but it did get completed on 29th of December, and the shipment came in December 31st, so it was just right in time.
Wintertime in Boston with a fucking syrup would suck ass.
With a syrup?
Yeah, like molasses, trying to fill that tank with cold molasses.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to heat it. That's the stupid thing. You'd have to heat it up to get it dumped in there.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as they filled it up with molasses the first time, it was, like, immediately leaking.
So the sad thing is honestly thinking about it, it might have been intact, but then you throw a liquid in a giant holding thing in wintertime, it expands.
Yeah, it changes. Yeah. Thermal expansion.
Yeah.
It's definitely a thing. But it was funny because it was leaking molasses as soon as they filled it up.
And they just painted.
So you know what? The guy was like, what do we do about this? Should we A, fix the leaks? You know, no, B, maybe look at the construction and reassess, right? Maybe we don't fill it up as much. Or C, do we just paint it the color of molasses and hope no one will notice?
Yeah. Paint it.
And that's
brown.
what they did. They just painted it.
And the sad thing is
because the neighborhood was complaining about how bad it looked because it was this steel tank with molasses leaking out the sides.
Well, a thing I saw is that people actually, like, people around that would go up and just get buckets of molasses.
Free syrup.
Basically.
Yeah. No, why wouldn't you? If you were, like, especially in a kind of a hardship neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Here's the opportunity to get back at the man and get some free syrup for your cookies.
Yeah.
For Nate's fat ass cookies.
I love my fat ass cookies. So, tank was finished in 1915.
Yep. And it was good for a couple years.
Yeah, it lasted a lot longer than I thought.
But now we're going to move to the next section, which is talking about
the actual event of the flood. Midday, January 15th.
I was thinking about this.
Don't make me come over there. I'll finish this rumple and come kick your ass.
I will kiss you on the mouth.
Oh, all right. So, yes, midday
Daddy.
on January 15th, 1919. Boston's North End was full of workers and residents venturing outdoors because it was just unseasonably warm weather. It was January. It was probably 50 fucking degrees, and people were like, "Hot damn!" Like we are in the Midwest.
No. You got to do the Boston accent. Hey, fucking hot.
With my khakis.
Where's
Your
my
car keys? Not my khakis.
I can't even do it right now. I don't.
My khakis.
Did I forget how to do
I
impressions
can't fucking
completely?
do. I can't do it.
Get my
I can't do
khakis.
it, dude.
It's like their car keys are in their pants, so they say
Yeah.
my khakis are in my khakis.
Yeah. Do you think they're khaki shorts? That's why they always say that, because it's hot.
I don't think you would. It's not hot there.
It's
Is
hot.
it?
It's always hot.
Is it hot in Boston?
No, not really.
I think they wear pants there.
Yeah, probably. So it was January. It was warm, and like in the Midwest, January we have these random days where it's 50 degrees, and we're like, holy shit, shorts and a t-shirt, walking outside like, oh, there's still ice, but it's okay.
Let's be honest though, there's always like, especially when I went to college, there's always a kid where it's like -10 out and he's still walking around in shorts and a hoodie.
That was me in Kansas.
I could see it being you. That's why.
That was me in Kansas. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Sorry.
So yeah, so it's warm. Around 1 p.m. they heard a rumble, and almost everyone thought it was the elevated train system in Boston. So they're like, "Ah, cool, the train's coming."
No, it was the molasses tank about the shit itself.
Well, kinda. Within minutes, they realized something was wrong. So here it is. The 50-foot tall tank. So the tank was 50 feet tall.
Yeah.
And they filled it 6 inches.
From the top?
That is, I'm guessing, 6 inches of water in there. It sounds like it's 6 inches of water in a 50-foot fucking tank. That's pretty funny. So they realized that the tank full of molasses had ruptured, sending a 2.3 million gallon wave of molasses rushing through the crowded north end. Because
talk about a sticky situation.
you loved that, didn't you?
I'm going to say it so many times.
But yeah, so it was warm out. Everyone was outside. There was kids. It was not good. But
they died.
yeah. So it ended up being a 15-foot tall wave, 160 feet wide of molasses that just raced through the streets at 35 miles an hour, destroying everything it touched.
Talk about a sticky situation.
So the pictures I saw was just like wiped out and just
Yeah.
like pools of shit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, everything in its wake was just way overpowered. Like, even the steel girders that were underneath the railroad track, were, like, completely moved out of the way. They had to stop all the train traffic because the train tracks were messed up.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy the amount of energy that thing had. So all the houses, especially in the poor neighborhood, were just, like, obliterated.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, a thick syrup and just I couldn't even imagine.
Talk about a sticky situation.
So they're all thinking that since the shitty construction of the tank and then the sudden temperature change, going from freezing to warm was the issue that caused it.
It's part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the reasons
Yeah.
why in a little bit, but yeah. That was part of it. Yep.
Yeah, so it killed 21 people. And then from what I saw, it was 150 people injured.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of people got hurt.
It was like 2 10-year-olds died.
A lot of horses too died.
Yeah, well, I could only imagine.
Hilarious.
Straight to the dog food factory.
Comedy.
But yeah, they took out a freaking firehouse. There's a fireman asleep that drowned in molasses. I feel like that'd be the worst way to go.
Be awfully surprising.
Just
Go to heaven and be like, what the hell was
why
that?
am I sticky and not happy?
They're like, a molasses tank exploded. You're like, no.
That sounds made up.
No way. But can you imagine drowning in molasses?
I could imagine just drowning.
Yeah, I mean, that would suck. I think it'd suck more if it was molasses. Or would it be better? I don't know.
I don't know.
I think
Like,
it'd be like funny.
Would the thicker syrup
I think
suffocate you faster?
I don't know. It would suck no matter what, like when you drown, you start to try to breathe in whatever liquid is there. So like,
Or would it go slower because it's thicker?
I think I would be in the molasses and starting to try to breathe it in and be like, God damn it, this is like going to be a funny thing someday We were gonna talk about it and like
There's gonna
laugh
be two weird guys
and like, but it actually hurts really bad.
making sticky situation jokes.
Talk about a sticky situation.
Exactly.
Oh God.
So yeah, so fucking cleared out everything. All the pictures I saw, yeah, it was just basically just pieces of shit everywhere, pools of molasses. Yeah, it was.
I mean,
sticky situation.
yeah, 2 million gallons of molasses just shot out. Basically, 35-mile-per-hour wave
Of thick molasses.
of molasses. And now we're gonna cover why the tank itself had failed, because there was not just one warning sign, but there was multiple warning signs that this was a bad idea to have this tank and fill it up. So, like we said before, as soon as they filled it up, it was leaking molasses. But every time they filled it, the tank would like have this audible groan to it. It's like, oh.
It was like a fat guy getting off a couch.
It's like fat guy eating Taco Bell. You know, like, oh God.
I hear that every time.
So, but it had held up for years. So obviously the owners, the USIA guys, were like, well, I mean, it's fine. It's been holding up, you know, and it's been fine. So it's just going to be fine. So I used to design diesel tanks actually at one of my older jobs, not my current job. But one thing that we would do is like, you have all these regulations. You have like certain thickness of materials you had to use. You had to have dual wall construction. You had to test it with air pressure. You know, actually have to hold and maintain air pressure. There's lots of design regulations that you have to follow nowadays. You have to have venting, proper venting in it. You can't fill it up past a certain point. So like all those things are in place to prevent what happened. Because what happened was the thing was originally built with steel panels that were way thinner than the specified thickness. So it was about half the thickness, if you do the math nowadays, half the thickness that it actually should have been. And not enough rivets were used too. So obviously that's another issue, right?
Yeah, I feel like a tank that of something holding that nowadays would be welded together.
Yeah, because when it did blow, a lot of people had reports on what the sound was like, because it was like this big boom sound. But then there was also some people that said they heard like machine gun fire
From the rivets popping.
and it was from the rivets popping, and it was like one by one. It was like pew 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 pew, you know, shooting off rivets. And then talk about a sticky situation. So usually you have a vent at the top, right? But because it was January and it was cold out, usually they actually shut off the vent.
So it actually had a vent.
It had a vent on it.
Okay.
To prevent the air pressure buildup, because so two things happened, right? They brought in molasses the day before they filled this up. And when they brought it in, it was warm molasses mixing with the cold molasses. And not only that, but the temperature that day was really high, like you said. So what happens when the temperature goes too high is the molasses starts to ferment and it starts to give off the gas, right? So if you have the vent closed and it's giving off gas, it's giving off carbon dioxide.
Yeah, it's just going to
Right.
build up.
It's going to build up, and it was very dangerous. So the other part to this, to explain why the wave happened and why the wave was so dramatic, has to do with potential energy and kinetic energy. And I'm going to go all engineer on this discussion, but basically that's like the amount of energy something has, and there's like a balance between the two. So kinetic, think about it like a kid on the swing set. So when the kid goes up on the swing set, when they're at the top spot and they're not moving, they have the most potential energy. And as they come down and they're swinging at the bottom with the most speed, they have the lowest amount of potential energy, but highest amount of kinetic energy. So all that molasses that was stacked so high, that high up molasses had the most energy from the same thing the kid had at the top of the swing. Basically, its potential energy was very high. So when the tank did rupture and it started to move, the other part to that is molasses is not a sheer thickening liquid like when you have cornstarch and water and you see people punching the liquid and it's hard, right? Molasses is actually the opposite of that. So the more that you hit it with some force, it actually kind of thins it out and has it move faster. So because of all that potential energy at the top, pushing all the molasses at the bottom, that's why it rushed out with such speed that it had, and why they did the math recently, and actually it could get to 35 miles per hour, just from how much molasses was in there. So the amount of potential energy that it had was 850 sticks of dynamite worth of energy. So it's like a really decent bomb, you know. It had 850 million joules of energy.
Cleared out an entire fucking neighborhood.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it was bad, you know. So.
Yeah, so.
Boom. So it definitely did rush out. And, like, because of all that energy that it had, that's why it, like, killed so many people.
Yeah.
And destroyed houses and the firehouse, all that shit. Talk about a sticky situation.
I wonder how many of the people that died there were buried in the cemetery or that's right next to it. Right next to the North Church where Paul Revere hung the...
Yeah. So they said that some of the bodies were so glazed over, like sugary, like crystallized.
Yeah.
They couldn't even recognize them, even after trying to wash it off.
Jeez.
Because it crystallized them so bad. Yeah.
Like preserved them.
Yeah.
But in a weird,
icky,
creepy, icky way.
Dude, I bet it smelled so weird there for a long time.
I could only imagine.
I mean, most of it ran off in the harbor.
Yeah.
And for days,
it's right next to the...
Yeah, it's right next to the harbor. And it for days, the harbor was like a brown, icky color.
Worse than the Tea Party?
I don't know. We should do the Tea Party, though.
I'll give you a tea party.
I'm looking forward to it, Daddy.
Weirdo. So that is why the tank did what it did, and why the wave of molasses destroyed everything. Is something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human who lives in a world who is going through a hard time, therapy can give you the tools to approach your life in a very different way. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com.
That's right, Nate. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. And this is an important mission because finding a therapist can be hard, especially when you're limited to the options in your area. Yeah, I'm really glad we chose BetterHelp as a sponsor for this podcast because I've had people in my own life that have struggled with mental health and anxiety and depression. And therapy was something that definitely helped them overcome those struggles. And now they're in a much better place.
Yeah, I mean, I use BetterHelp, and so far, so good.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really talking about you.
Oh.
BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days.
And sometimes faster. It only took a couple hours for me.
That's right. It's easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. There's a link in our description. It's betterhelp.com/historicalblunderspod.
All one word.
That's right. Clicking that link helps support this channel, but it also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp, so you can connect with a therapist and get the support that you need.
And because finding a therapist is a little like dating, if you don't really fit with that therapist, which is a common thing with therapy, you can easily switch to a new therapist at no additional cost, without stressing about insurance, who's in network, or anything like that.
So if you're struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/historicalblunderspod.
And that's betterhelphelp.com.
I believe it's time for
So we're going to give you guys a couple trivia questions.
Sounds great.
All right. So for context, people and listeners, this is my cousin Tara and my future cousin Dan.
Bye.
Some of our fans might recognize that wonderful voice of Dan from the Titanic episode.
It was a great episode.
It was a great episode. We got really off topic at the end. We talked about Power Rangers.
That was great.
It was such a great episode. So, This week's episode is about the Boston molasses flood. So we're going to have some molasses / Boston themed trivia for you.
Great. I know nothing about either.
Well, that's good. Dan, do you know anything about molasses?
I know some things about syrup.
Close enough. All right, Fly. Fire away.
Molasses is commonly used to produce what liquor?
We don't get multiple choice.
No, come on. You're
all
a
right.
teacher.
I'll do okay, bourbon,
Malt liquor is what I'm saying.
bourbon, liquor, or
Liquor, I don't even know her.
I'll do bourbon, vodka, rum, or malt liquor.
Malt liquor.
I was right anyway.
No, you weren't right. It's rum.
It's rum.
Idiots.
Jesus.
They're family. It's okay.
Liquor.
All right, so here's my question.
Good old molasses.
What year was molasses invented?
1800.
Did you get multiple choice?
No. Nate questions don't get multiple choice.
Nate questions are hard as shit.
Yeah, Nate questions are hard as shit.
I'm gonna go like 19.
Oh, I was thinking like 1800s, like 1880.
1880? Is that your final guess?
I was gonna say 500 AD.
Wow. It's like he knows the answers. It's 500 AD in India.
Well, okay, that wasn't my guess.
It was not your guess, Tara. I heard 19 come from you.
Hey, what's for dinner?
Oh, we're having some butter lemon shrimp on a bed of rice.
Oh my gosh,
That sounds
And
fancy.
cucumber
Oh, you killed
with
it.
a side of green beans as well.
All right.
that sounds really good.
I don't like cucumbers,
Pretty
though.
tasty.
That sounds healthy too. Wow.
They're healthy people.
I can't relate.
They're in shape. We're not.
I know.
Well, it has dill from our garden too. It's fresh dill.
Oh, fresh dill. Ooh.
Fresh dill.
Fancy, fancy.
Ooh. Stuff from the garden's always better. All right.
Yes.
Which of the following did not originate in Boston? Lighthouses, Oysters Rockefeller, or commercial subways?
I'm going with Subways. What's your answer?
I was thinking something else, but
What's your answer?
I thought Rockefeller was overseas, but I might be wrong.
I mean,
So I was going to,
you're probably wrong.
yeah, probably. Rockefeller for mine.
He's not wrong. He's right.
Well, no, he's right, but Oysters Rockefeller, I'm pretty sure, was from New York.
That's what I thought.
Not overseas.
Not overseas, Dan. Come on. But all right.
Still
My
got it right.
my fun question here. How many years after the Boston molasses flood did they still smell molasses?
Yesterday. I don't
Yeah.
know the flood happened.
When did the
Oh,
Boston
sorry.
Wall-
1919.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to say 1927, but Tara's saying 1950.
Yeah.
Well, there is no definite answer. It just says decades.
Exactly.
But also, there are rumors today that residents still say they smell it on a hot summer day.
I did see it.
Yeah, Tara. Well, she said yesterday.
It was
Yesterday-
probably pretty cold in Boston yesterday.
That's what I'm saying.
Probably not a hot summer day. Tara.
I call bullshit. I don't think you can smell it
There's
today.
been a lot of nasty things in Boston.
Yeah, I'm saying I think they just mistaken the smell of molasses for piss.
Ew.
Could be.
There's a lot of weird dirtiness
Nathaniel.
there. I've been there.
Nothing.
It was fun. All right,
been there.
Fly. What's your next question?
This is a Nate question.
Oh yeah, that's a
In
Nate
this-
question, so
this-
it's gonna be really hard.
In the spirit of Nate, what was the street? Yeah, I guess it was.
Yeah.
What was the street number of the Boston molasses tank?
So just shoot out a number, guys.
Oh, 1912.
You said number.
Yeah, 1912.
Street address of the Boston molasses tank.
Tara's saying 16. I'm saying 1,912.
It's 529.
Yeah, you guys are way off. What the hell? Don't they teach you guys anything in school?
Dude, they're like, dude, we're just trying to have dinner.
I
Man.
know.
Leave us alone.
These are fucking rude people. All right.
Well, again, in trivia, for questions like these involving dates, they usually
I know, probably multiple choice.
or give us a time frame.
Yeah. But guess what? This isn't your average trivia. This is interrupt your dinner trivia.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Some of mine. Tara hasn't even started hers.
Oh, well, that doesn't surprise me.
Is it good?
Tara eats slow.
Did it turn out good?
That's true.
Didn't know that was a quality about me.
She needs to go to prison. She'll learn to eat fast.
What?
I don't ever want to go to prison. That's a rude thing to say. Thank you, Nate.
You got to learn some life lessons, Tara.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think
It's either prison or the military. Which one? Choose.
Choose what?
Prisoner military.
Military.
Choose.
Oh, she no hesitation there. All right, third question from Nate. Last question, so you guys can hang up and enjoy your dinner. So this happened in 1919. Who won the World Series that year?
The Cubs?
They don't win World Series. Come on.
It's
It's got to be something
wait.
from Boston.
Well, again,
Boston.
I don't know if was it the Boston
But
White
they're talking-
Sox?
But they're talking about Boston.
Was it the Boston White Sox?
I don't know shit about baseball. It's
I
Boston,
can't
right?
remember.
Boston.
I don't think it's always been the Red Sox.
I have no fucking idea. I hate Boston sports. But no, it was the Cincinnati Reds.
Son of a bitch.
It's just because it was the same year, but it's also going to lead into a future episode of the 1919 World Series.
We'll talk about it.
Motherfucker, we're doing it. I'll do it without you. I'll do it by myself.
We'll talk about it.
But yeah, it's the Black Sox scandal when the White Sox basically gave up the World Series
That's the only time you guys have won
to
it.
the mob,
Fucking
and yeah, the
loser.
Cincinnati Reds won that year. Woo, go Reds!
Is your co-host, was he at your wedding?
I was.
Ooh, you're the one that had the dancing skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy,
The
that
short,
weird
fat guy that didn't stop dancing.
Loved it.
Yeah, that's me.
I have no dancing skills, so I can appreciate anybody who knows how to boogie. I like it.
Yep. I have an
Yeah,
effect.
I'm-
I have an effect on the room.
All right, so thanks guys for letting us interrupt your dinner. Sorry, I messed up and decided to just call a random number, and you were at the top of the list. Sorry, Dan.
I love it. Quick question. Are you prepared for 9 days from now?
Yeah.
I'm never prepared.
Son of a
Are you
bitch.
prepared for divorce statistics right off the bat?
Whoa.
I'm officiating their wedding.
Oh, are you? Hey, in 9 days?
Yeah, that's why we're going to Florida.
Oh shit! Congratulations.
How long does it take to find a new officiant?
Probably really not that long, but don't replace me. I promise I'll do good.
He's gonna talk about George Washington.
Maybe.
Oh boy.
Our founding fathers.
Are you actually doing it?
What?
You're actually officiating
Yeah.
the wedding? Oh, oh boy.
I've been an officiant since 20.
I know you have been. I didn't know you actually did
13?
it before.
No,
Is this your
this
first
is my
one?
first one. No, I almost did this weird people's wedding, but they really creeped me out, so I said no.
We'll be praying for you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, that's how we met was through Nate, so.
All right, love you guys.
Love you too.
Bye.
I love you.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
He hung up. All right.
Well, we did it. So actually, we should tell the truth. So we had just done trivia with someone else before that.
Yeah, shout
You
out
wanna-
to Hairball.
We did it with Hairball. We'll do it with Hairball next week.
Yeah, we'll have Hairball on the next
But Nate,
episode.
you want to explain what happened?
I got excited.
Do you want to explain what happened?
I got excited and didn't push the button right.
He didn't record it.
I did not. I hit pause before we called, and then I didn't hit pause to resume.
So we just interrupted their dinner.
So we interrupted my cousin. Hey, they were troopers about it. That's all that
It
matters.
was very nice of them.
Yes. Thanks, Dan and Tara. So now we're going to talk about the legacy of it. You know,
The legacy.
what happened afterwards, the aftermath and everything. So the disaster led to one of the longest and costliest legal battles in Massachusetts history. So the United States Industrial Alcohol Company, which owned the tank, it was also it was a subsidy of the company that actually owned the tank was a subsidy of the
Classic America.
the USIA. And so actually what's funny is if you just look up the USIA, it's actually like the United States like Informative Association or something like that. It's an actual government entity, not this company.
I say this company died.
Yeah, there was. I'm guessing probably because of everything they had to do.
Yeah.
Because there's like not much information on this company.
Yeah.
Like I tried to find it, and everything was just like, well, they owned the tank of the Boston Molasses flood. I'm like, okay, cool, but what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of sucked. So yeah, obviously, you know, deaths, damages, and everything. You're gonna get stuck with some lawsuits. So, like, to an extent, yes, it was kind of an act of God, temperature change and everything, but at the same time,
nah,
not really.
That's not enough.
Yeah, it really wasn't because of, you know, them closing the vents, them not getting the tank inspected properly. Like, they had years. They could have done it.
Yeah, I mean, even the employees were like, "Hey, our tank sucks, and we need to fix it." And the owner was like, "It's just fine.
Here's a pizza party. Shut up."
Here's a pizza party."
Oh,
How's that Rumpelminster there, champ?
that was a good one. So, yeah, the defense, you know, the company tried claiming that the Italian anarchists were responsible for the tank.
So they tried saying that the anarchists had put a bomb in there to blow it.
Yeah, that there was a rebellion in the area,
which would be a really smart way to do it, honestly. Like, you have all this stuff there, just throw a little bomb in there, or like even just pull a plate off, you know, a cork. It's so, the whole thing just sounds like a comic book story. Or like a cartoon, you know? Like, oh, the molasses tank exploded. Whee!
When I first ever heard about this, I was like, that can't be real.
Yeah, I know. It's like, that sounds stupid.
A tidal wave of molasses? Come on, guys.
No, but the truth is, after this came out, like, not just is it a funny story, but the legal proceedings that happened afterwards really paved the way for corporate regulations.
Oh. You mean companies actually trying to cover themselves?
Yeah, I mean, before it was like companies could really kind of do what they wanted.
Do whatever they wanted.
And this was the first time it was like the company was actually held accountable fairly well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say greatly, but it was fairly well.
So yeah, the defense was like, it was them damn Italians, you know.
Right.
But the judge didn't buy it. So back in 1919, $628,000 was awarded in damages, which, according to Fly, that's $10.6 million in 2022 money, or $500 million is today's money. Ha 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 ha.
Inflation.
But yeah, so I mean, in reality, $10.6 million isn't really that much for 21 deaths and 150 injuries. So that's just people, not including everything it wiped out. So, like, if this would have happened today,
it would have been much more.
Oh, it'd probably be $1 trillion settlement.
Wow.
With deaths and everything?
It would have been
so much more.
Real bad.
Yeah. But also, yeah, $10.6 million, even back then, like, yeah, that's an insane amount of money. And that's why it kind of killed the company.
Yeah, so basically because of that, companies were like, oh shit, we need to like start being decent.
We need to protect ourselves.
Yeah. So this is really the birthplace of like professional engineers and state required building codes. Like,
boo.
I know, but it's like John the Fireman said, right? Codes are written in blood.
Yeah.
And it's the reason why, like, I've designed a lot of stuff where I had to have PE sign off on it, because if it fell over, it could be, you know, it could be a dangerous thing for people to be next to, you know. It's a real hazard.
I've designed 2 things in my life. I didn't go by any codes for any of them.
Are you talking about this room?
I didn't build this room. Fuck no.
You didn't?
No.
Oh.
In my professional...
That's why it looks so nice.
Yeah. No. In my professional life, I've only built 2 things, designed 2 things.
What's that?
Actually, technically 3.
Just get to the fucking point.
A cart to hold a bunch of stock of Blue Spring steel that comes in coils.
Exhilarating.
I even welded it. It is.
I want to see the welds on. We should have Brett look at the welds.
No. Pavlik already made fun of him enough.
I'm sure.
Because I am not a welder. And then I designed a rack to hold frames for work.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It was actually a really awesome rack, and then the engineer that actually drew it for me fucked up.
So you didn't design it?
So yeah, sorry guys, we were interrupted. We have a new guest on the show.
Yep.
Her name's Eleanor.
Hi, Ellie. Nate's little girl.
She's upset. She missed me.
She had a rough ride home, it sounds like.
Yeah, you're okay.
She's confused.
You're okay.
Just a reminder, we are doing a name change to Bottoms Up History, and that will be happening on March 20th. So very excited.
I said
for
March
that.
22nd.
Did I say March 22nd?
I think you said March 22nd.
Sometime in March it'll be happening.
What the heck, Bean? He don't know his dates.
We'll be putting up what our new logo is going to be and when we're going to change the name on Facebook and all of our other social media platforms.
Yeah, that's the nice mic.
Oh. Anyways, that's our episode on the Boston Molasses flood. If you guys enjoy the episode, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps us a lot. But follow us on Facebook or Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok.
We have so much stuff to change.
I guess not Twitter, it's X, right?
Yes, X now.
We're going to have to change a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so don't you guys worry, though. We'll make sure that the change goes easy for everybody.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Because we still will own our name, our show, and stuff, so we'll have our links to go to our new name.
And early surprise, I guess, or a happy announcement, we're still going to be holding each other on a moped.
Yes.
In the picture.
I know that was everybody's biggest worry. But yes, we will still be holding each other smiling.
But that's our episode on the Boston Molasses flood, and hope you guys have a nice week.
Bye.